Howdy folks, welcome back to day 39. We've got a treasure map. We're in the library. It leads to there, which is the bedroom. Wait, I immediately forgot after seeing it. Yeah, bedroom, which we'll go to soon. In fact, let me make a note of that. Treasure map. But first, it's story time. Is it a ghost story? The Curse of Blackbridge. Right. We've seen this bridge elsewhere. I can't remember exactly where, but it was in the context of it being Black Bridge. I think it might have been in the Inner Sanctum, one of those letters or something. Or postcards, whatever they were. Forward. The legend of Blackbridge is one that's well known to the people of the Grand Realm, for versions of this tale have been passed down from generation to generation. With each new telling, the story has changed, becoming over the years more colourful, more verbose, and as one might expect, increasingly horrifying. Okay, this is fun. However, with so many renditions and unique personal touches, the task of confining and binding this tale to text seemed an ambitious and impossible challenge. Over the course of my research, I have heard dozens of variations of the legend, and while the details would often change, I was surprised how much of the story's heart remained the same. Yet the more I listened, the clearer it became that there could never be a definitive version of this tale, capable of capturing all the wonder and myth of Blackbridge. In the end, I chose to write down what felt most authentic, the story my grandmother told me as a boy long ago. Who are we? Redford Ewing. Okay, Redford. Red. It feels like this could be an anagram name, but I'm not sure. Okay. How long is this? It's got multiple parts. Part 1, the berry picker from Oris. So Oris was the city in Arinda Ares. Many years ago, before peace had become a familiar word, there lived a group of rogues so wayward that the locals deemed it appropriate to call their number the Unholy Hounds. They were feral outlaws composed of society's worst in a time when society was at its worst, and for each crime that fearful travellers credited to the group, a dozen more lay unclaimed, each worse than the last. For the gentry, however, who often valued their coffers more than their companions, no crime could measure more wicked than the group's primary enterprise, high-road robbery. One such member of the so-called band of rogues was a boy of 13 years, Jesper, who had not been lucky in life, having lost 2 brothers to war and parents to famine. Poor Jesper. He deserves to do a bit of high-road robbery. In the years of hunger that followed, Jesper lived in a gutter behind the churchyard, relying on the nourishment of scurrying bugs and weeds, harvested from the cracks of the alleyway to sustain his pitiful existence. So Jesper's going to die and become a ghost or something. It is not surprising that a child aiming to escape such hardships would take any easy road out. An easy and well-travelled road paved with temptations, leading out of the city and into the gentrylands, where loose purse strings entwine with the strands of salvation and glisten equally with the hope of opportunity. It was this road that eventually led Jesper to the end of his youth, a hidden cave at the bottom of Blackbridge Canyon. Right, and that's why the grotto was named after Blackbridge, I guess? It was here that he met his surrogate family and saviors, that notorious gang of godless outlaws known as the Unholy Hounds. Okay. Despite the hardened circumstances that had led him to this vocation of banditry, Jesper was surprisingly tender-hearted and was often teased by the group for being too kind for such an ignoble life. For this reason, Jesper was assigned the innocent role of berry picker. It was not just innocence that set berry picking apart from the gang's more wicked undertakings, for it was the only duty performed without the safety of the night's concealment. Jesper, no stranger to solitude, did not protest that he alone worked while the others slept soundly, tucked away in the cave at the bottom of Blackbridge Canyon. On one such occasion, Jesper decided to get an early start. He left the cave, berry basket in hand, and set out into the woods before the morning sun had even brushed against the tallest treetops. It was colder in the mornings, but the headway dawn afforded meant Jesper could reach the furthermost berry patches without worry of being chastised for tarrying upon his return. What does tarrying mean? Let's look it up. Tarrying. Stay longer than intended. Okay, interesting. Good word. Okay. Anything to notice in the picture? I don't think so. Just a basket of berries. It took over 3 hours on foot to reach his destination. Along the way, Jesper had passed by many a familiar bush, all priorly pillaged and so bereft of berries that one would have to dedicate several moments in earnest examination before finding a single one. Jesper was patient, but even patience has its limits. He was confident that even accounting for the time lost to this long stretch of travel, his efforts would be well worth the pains. Surveying the patches in this new grove surprised even Jesper. The red dots suspended among the leaves seemed as numerous as stars in the skies. Upon seeing such a bounteous sight, he clutched his berry basket tightly and nearly toppled over out of joy. Once he had regained his senses, Jesper quickly made a decision. Is it a trap? He would not reveal the location of this newfound treasure. Instead, he would earn the respect of his confederates, who, upon seeing his yield, might attribute the success to hard work. Smiling at his plan, Jesper set off to fill his basket, and was making steady strides in this task when the sound of thundering hooves interrupted him. A carriage is approaching. The thought of it made Jesper freeze. Had he been so enchanted by his discovery that he had neglected to observe his surroundings? How could a roadway be so close? He ducked down and crept toward the impending sound, hiding behind one of the larger bushes nearby. It was only a moment more before the sound's source revealed itself. Within 50 paces of where Jesper hid, an elegant carriage with gold trim came soaring around the corner of trees, led by 2 beautiful white horses and conveyed by a stern-looking driver seated atop the vehicle, flaunting the most sophisticated regalia, is that how you say that? Jesper had ever seen. It was not just any carriage, it was a royal carriage. Even without ever having witnessed such a sight before, Jesper was certain. The sight had so transfixed Jesper that he stood awestruck, unable to tear away as the carriage approached. The little concealment the bush provided was soon proven unequal to the driver's lofty perch, and upon spotting the boy he pulled the reins with such effect that the noble steed slid to a sudden halt with precise control. "You boy, get out from behind that bush," he shouted with a rigidity that betrayed a modest amount of fear. "You startled me half to death coming around the bend of my own drive and me seeing such an unfamiliar face in a place where there ought not be any face." Jesper quickly contemplated running. The man was much older and his dress was suitable for courtly behaviour, not dashing through the bramble and mud. I was picking berries." Jesper raised the half-filled basket up to allow the driver to see the proof of his words. The demeanour of the man suddenly changed. It was a change that Jesper was familiar with. He had many times seen the same stern expressions on the most fiendish bandits melt away when presented with a berry basket. Any suspicions that the driver might have had instantly evaporated, for even the notion of a member of the Unholy Hounds picking berries seemed farcical. The softened expression even made allowances for a smile. Am I going to get an allowance? Thank you. Berries, eh? Say, you couldn't have picked a better spot for them, could you? I used to pick berries here as a boy. Jesper took his cue to finally step forward out from behind the bush, proudly brandishing his basket. "I know, and what luck I found them. I have only just begun picking, and look how many I have. It would have taken me 4-fold the time back home to procure this number." The driver bent down for a closer look. "And where is your home, boy? It must be quite far." It'd be hilarious if this is like a full-length book. I could totally imagine that being something the developer of this game would do. And I'm just reading the whole thing. I mean, let's see what happens. Jesper replied with a scripted response. "A little south of Tanner Fork, just past the burnt woods." Yeah, we've heard about Tanner Fork before. "My god, that is far. In fact, I think it's on the Metro map. Let's have a look. Yep, it's top 10 on the Metro map. My god, that is far. You couldn't have come all that way only this morning." It was true. Tanner Fork was in the exact opposite direction that Jesper had travelled. While that response would seem perfectly reasonable in a location close to Black Bridge Canyon, you can see why it might seem less believable here. "So I've travelled much farther for much less profit. I dare say there is no distance yet made by man that would not be worth undertaking for a prize such as these. Surely you have tasted them for yourself." Jesper felt happier with this response, as it seemed to amplify the man's smile. "In my youth, often, but perhaps I took it for granted because I never had to travel very far, and even then my father would always drive us here in our carriage, so I'm ashamed I never had to walk such a stretch to earn an equal reward." Okay, I see the metaphor. It was Jesper's time to smile. "Then let my efforts reward us both today." He raised the basket even higher. "A taste in memory of your youth, sir." Jesper's face is concealed. The driver chuckled and removed one glove, bending over the seat to reach down to the basket, and at the moment his fingers touched the first berry, the dagger in turn met his throat. Ooh. Cutting through a superficial layer of skin and drawing blood, Jesper caught the man's startled eyes, and for that taste I will have your purse, sir, in memory of my youth. Oh gosh. The driver's arm had gone stiff, his chin raised and trembling, more frightened than he had ever been before. Whether unable or incapable of speaking, he did not respond to the boy. Perhaps he did not think his jaw could afford to be engaged at this particular time. Jesper let the basket drop, freeing his other hand to probe the man's pockets. Do not mistake me, sir. I will not kill you if you give me no cause. Though I will admit the thought of taking your carriage and leaving you the indignity of walking appeals to me. Okay, so he hasn't actually stabbed him yet. He's just like cut him slightly. Yep. Unable to find a purse in the man's coat. I kind of, when I read it, I was imagining the knife had gone into his neck. Unable to find a purse in the man's coat, Jesper prepared to search the seat under him. Why have you no purse upon your person? That's why they call it a purse. The driver slowly raised his hand, cautiously, pointing towards the carriage door behind him. Jesper lowered the knife's edge a small degree to allow the man to speak, which he did in turn softly. There's a lockbox in the carriage. Does he have a sledgehammer, though? Well, come down then and grant me the courtesy of sparing your life and binding your hands. A concession, I assure you, of my tender heart, for it would be much easier to slit your throat. That just maybe gave me the idea it'd be fun to have like a book in the game that requires me to have items, like almost like a choose your own adventure thing, but it depends on the items I've got, like in real life. I'm doing air quotes around that, but you know what I mean. The man started to comply, slowly lowering himself from the driver's seat of the carriage. Once down, Jesper guided him away from the carriage to a nearby tree where he instructed him to get on his knees and put his hands behind his back. Okay? Holy moly. Excusing his inexperience, the man indulged Jesper while he figured out how to adequately bind him. The smile and kindness Jesper had seen on this man's face, now nothing more than a distant memory. In their place, cold, dark eyes displaying no emotion. I wonder, should I grant you the same clemency you are showing me? Jesper stopped, surprised by the question. Oh, sorry. So that's what the man said. I wonder, should I grant you the same clemency you are showing me? Jesper stopped, surprised by the question, but ignored it, secured the final bindings, and then hastily returned to the carriage. With one hand on the door's handle, he turned back to the man. If there is no lockbox, there will be no clemency. Inside the carriage was surprisingly dusty and unswept, a stark contrast to the elegant and polished golden facade of the exterior. It had apparently been many years since a passenger had enjoyed a passage in this vehicle. Okay, so there's more to this carriage than meets the eye, right? It's a temptation or something. This all but confirmed what Jesper had suspected. The driver of this carriage was not a liveried servant in the employ of some greater master. Any curiosity that this observation might have further produced was quickly abandoned upon seeing what rested under the carriage's back seat, a large wooden lockbox. Despite its hefty appearance, the box was surprisingly easy to handle. In a few minutes, Jesper dislodged it from its hold and carried it out into the sunlight. Inspecting the box carefully, two observations were made. Totemic symbols found carved on all four sides of the box hinted that the box was very old, likely not created by Arindian hands, reminding him of artifacts from the old world and presumably crafted in one of the ancient realms. Secondly, the box was secured by a rusted yet robust padlock and would not open easily without a key or a sledgehammer. Jesper looked over to see the driver quietly observing from his indentured position. Do you perhaps have a key you can provide me to open this box? Without a motion, the driver replied, there is no key to that box. Jesper stood up, easy enough then. He headed over to a nearby rock of sizable dimensions and lifted the stone up, carrying it back to the box. If there was ever a time when that lock had been resistant to brute force, it wasn't recent. With one hit, the stone had completely shattered the rusted lock. He bent back down and opened the lid. Inside was an effigy, a crude figure chiseled from stone. We've opened Pandora's box, haven't we? Without too much deliberation, Jesper bent down and picked it up, somewhat surprised how heavy it seemed, given how light the box had felt. Having expected to find something more akin to gold or gems, he looked questioningly to the man, hoping to find an explanation. It's a stone effigy. The driver's smile once again returned. You are cursed, boy, for deadly is the stone. You have opened that which should never have been opened, and you are cursed. Jesper carried the effigy over to the man and shoved it in front of his face. What is it? That's one. Feeling his disappointment rising to anger now, Jesper tightened his grip on the effigy. One what? He mumbling a gentor? What does that mean? Look at that word. That's not a word. The first thing that comes up is a blueprints thread on Reddit. Maybe it's Erasian or something. On what, you mumbling a gentle? And in God's name, why have you no person on your person? The man did not seem intimidated as 1 pace. He paused for effect. 12 more and you'll be dead. Oh. Interesting. So you can only take 12 steps. Oh, it's just like me. It's the curse I've got. But I get 70 every day. He only had a second to flinch before the effigy struck him on the head, put an end to his cryptic ramblings. There was ever a time when the old man had been resistant to brute force. It wasn't recent. Jasper looked down at the sculpted stone figure, now splattered red. Was it cursed? Was he cursed? He had of course heard stories of curses and never doubted their validity in the past, but now that he was standing face to face with the possibility of being cursed, his mind pleaded with him to be skeptical. And if he was cursed, what difference would the knowledge make? A dozen more paces would not be enough to find another living soul, to say nothing of the chances of procuring a remedy. If he did not move from where he now stood, he could live maybe another 3 or 4 days, maybe more, given the abundance of nearby berries. Oh gosh, a plan that, if we ignore its obvious faults, might provide additional opportunities for help to come along. This is definitely trying to, be similar to, what if I've got, few steps and I'm trying to just, gain resources to be able to step further into the house. But what good will that do to be discovered here? Beside a body, stolen goods in hand, bloated from berries and raving about a curse that could very well not be real, though it would most certainly be better to face one's fate now, take a dozen paces and see if life goes on. But Jasper found his legs unable to make that first step. His mind was unable to convince his limb to waste away 1/12 of his life in a single motion. Feeling desperation sink in, he hopelessly looked around him for a solution, and if by some stroke of luck the gods had heard his plea, a miracle materialized before him. The horses? Yes. Before him, as if he found himself suddenly at the end of a fairy tale. 2 white horses and a carriage of golden trim were beside him, the answer to his immediate prayers. He laughed at his fortune and calculated the short number of paces back to the road. 4, perhaps only 3 if he jumped. He made a quick survey to see if there was anything he wished to grab before taking the plunge. So this kid's now cursed to ride around in this carriage. He thought about removing the driver's fancy coat, as that appeared to be of some value, but the additional risk of undertaking such a task too great a chance, and so after a profound breath he took his second, third and fourth steps, though they were quite large. Seated now behind the horses, he reached for the reins and suddenly realized that he was still gripping the effigy. If the curse was real, then it would most certainly be better left here. If on the other hand the story was fictitious, there might be some appraisal that could be made of the figure. It was, after all, found in a lockbox, whose typical function obstacles objects of value. Sure, having witnessed firsthand the horrors of destitution, Jasper found his mind equally reluctant to allow his hand to let go. If it is cursed, I die. If not today, then tomorrow. If I die, what care have I? And with that statement said aloud, to the horses seemingly, Jasper took up the reins with confidence. Oh my gosh. What have I got myself into? I almost don't want to peek at how long this thing is. Holy moly. Part 2. I can imagine it being 3 parts maybe. Or maybe it's just 2. Part 2, Below the Black Bridge. Miller awoke to some light nudging from a familiar foot. I think we've seen the name Miller somewhere, haven't we, in this game? Only one person could have the cheek to awaken her in such ill-mannered fashion. Shaking the sleep from her eyes, she glared up at him in the darkness, but did not say a word. He nudged her again, teasingly, and then stepped back into the dim. Okay. Taking a moment for her eyes to adjust to the darkness of the cave, Miller remembered she was on 3rd watch today. Quietly collecting her things and wits, Miller turned as she left, waving to her young friend who was more than likely already asleep. She crept through the cavern's main passage, careful to not wake the sleeping bandits around her, like a hero in a book, she often mused. You are a hero in a book. Quietly, she grabbed a bow from the haphazardly formed pile of weapons, shaking the accompanying quiver in the darkness to assess how many arrows it held. She then walked towards the sun-drenched mouth of the cavern, ready to start her shift. Above her, in one of the few trees found in the canyon, Miller could see that Ravia was already posted. She waved and Ravia waved back. Calling out to each other was strictly forbidden. Anything louder than a gesture in the canyon was forbidden. When Miller reached the tree, Ravia lowered a braided rope and pointed to the ground behind her. Miller turned, following the finger, and saw a pail of water resting beside a nearby log. She turned back to Ravia, nodded, and secured the pail to the rope. The pail went up first, and in turn, Miller followed. Ravia reached across to grab the water. Miller leaned back to give her space. There was not much room for maneuvering in this tree post, a necessary concession for the concealment the outpost demanded. Ravia tilted the pail up to her mouth dramatically, illustrating how thirsty she had been. Miller laughed silently as water poured out, splashing onto Ravia's face. It was a bit too daring and noisy of a joke, and had the others been around, they would have certainly been scolded for the unwarranted... hold on, what's happened? Okay. The sound. But Miller appreciated the efforts Ravia took to verbalize the silence of the morning. They had been on third watch together for over a month, and during that speechless time, their friendship had grown to something special. Affection was unsurprisingly scarce among the Unholy Hounds. She had felt camaraderie before, but of course, but intimacy never. From their elevated vantage, the girls could see both the concealed entrance of the cavern as well as the clear view of the bridge that spanned across the canyon. So there's their cave. Black Bridge was the link between the Gentrylands and the northern mountains. Here it's two words. The overpass that connected Oris and Reddington to the city-faring travelers of the realm. The bridge was an unavoidable crossing. In the day, the task was to ensure that travelers passed by without stopping. At night, the task was to ensure that they do. Like most of her bands, Miller preferred the night. Surely, word would spread, and then people would never cross this bridge, or they figured out that they live there. Like most of her band, Miller preferred the night. The biting glare of the sun might be tolerable to farmhands and bricklayers, but to a cavern house bandit, it was a source of constant annoyance. In the day, there was no shrouds to conceal her expressions, nor to hide her thoughts. She felt exposed. Ravia touched her elbow and pointed up. Miller, striving to suppress a budding smile, subtly shook her head in response. There were many signs that the Unholy Hounds used in lieu of words, but the two of them had developed an extended vocabulary. Gestures quietly forged in the shared solitude of their month among the branches. She watched as Ravia shifted, placing her palms flat on the floorboards beneath her. So they do it together. They're not swapping positions, I guess. Miller knew what she was trying to say, but shook her head a second time. It was often more fun to pretend not to understand. Ravia rolled her eyes and turned away, looking back to the canyon. So what is she gesturing? Quietly forged in the shared solitude. Yep. She watched as Ravia shifted, placing her palms flat on the floorboards beneath them. So I guess we don't know what that means yet. Squinting through the leaves, the two girls held still, watching and listening. It was not long until Miller too heard the sounds of approach. Ravia held up two bent fingers, and a few moments later, two men emerged from the bridge's southern end. They were dressed in a familiar uniform, long grey coats with black facings, white waistcoats, and black tricorn hats. They belonged to the local patrol, the Black Guard. Okay, so that'll be the Arinda Guard, I guess, because their flag is black, I think. Although not an everyday, and I guess we are in Arinda Ares. Yes. Although not an everyday occurrence, their presence at Black Bridge was an unusual sight. Typically indicated an important traveller's impending passage across the bridge, information that the girls would promptly relay to their leaders as soon as the coast was clear. Okay, so there's going to be an important traveller, right? This report, while exciting, was rarely acted upon. In Miller's 5 years in Unholy Hounds, she had never once seen a carriage taken in open daylight where the Black Guard was nearby. The men had nearly reached the bridge's north end when Miller heard the horses faintly at first. Oh, no, there's two men, it's not the other carriage. I'm suspecting the other carriage to turn up at some point. The men had nearly reached the bridge's north end when Miller heard the horses, faintly at first, but growing louder with each passing moment. Ravi's eyes met Miller's. The same concern mirrored in each other's expression. This did not sound like the typical carriage, cautiously approaching the bridge to cross. Instead of the familiar crunch of the high-raised gravel, they heard the harsh clattering of hoofbeats against stone. Okay, both girls quickly redirected their attention downwards, looking through the foliage. The sounds were not coming from the high road, but from the canyon itself. The horses were coming from below the bridge. Here we go. In an instant, Miller had knocked an arrow and drawn her bow. Go. She said that. Ravia was gone before the whisper had even left Miller's mouth. Okay, go. Ravia was gone before the whisper had even left Miller's mouth. The young scout was already sliding down the bank below, racing towards the cave. There was no road that ran below the canyon. There was no reason for numerous horses to be approaching their cave. There was only one reasonable conclusion, and both girls had reached it instantly. The base had been compromised. There was a Black Guard attack. So, if we think this... I mean, maybe it's a Black Guard attack, but I'm strongly thinking this is the other carriage, right? Maybe. The moment the horses came into view, Mill let loose her first arrow. She was surprised to see a carriage. She had expected cavalry, but before she even finished processing that thought, her second arrow was in the air. Without a trail, it would be unthinkable for a carriage to traverse such rough terrain, yet she watched as the wheels jolted over the rocky riverbed. A third arrow was now in flight, and there would be no need for a fourth. The driver slumped over just moments before the vehicle dipped into a small ditch, slamming into an embankment. The force of this sudden halt immediately shattered the front two wheels and catapulted the driver from his seat. Utterly confused now, Miller quickly glanced over her shoulder to see if any horses were also approaching from the rear. Down in the canyon, the entire horde of the unholy hounds, gosh, there's a lot of reading, came spilling forth from the earth as if hell itself had suddenly sprung open. The group seemed even more bewildered than Miller, half asleep and tripping over one another in a desperate attempt to engage an unseen enemy in combat. Miller could see Ravia among their numbers. The only one looking up at her, her expression was chilling. There would be no need for a silent gesture to convey what they both now realized. They had made a mistake. The gang's chieftain, Jeffrey Heartslasher, what a cool name, led the others, cautiously approaching the crashed carriage like a suspicious fox would near a baited trap. There were no words exchanged as the group crept forward in customary silence. A dozen or so paces in front of the wreckage lay the far-flung driver, an arrow protruding from his broken body, and beside him a blood-stained effigy carved from stone. Let me have a sip of water, holy moly. Oh look, it's the Arinda Ares symbol. Miller was inconsolable. Jesper had always been her favourite. He had always shadowed her in the night, clinging to the hems of her every move, the way a child tails behind an older sibling. Tender-hearted she had always called him, though deep down she had known that wasn't quite true. His appearance of gentleness concealed a raw, resilient durability that emerged in the most perilous of situations. He had been a flower among the nettles of this cave, but he still had thorns, honed by a grim past and 100 hands of misfortune. They buried him in the darkness in the back of one of the larger cavern rooms. He was interred with a berry basket and a silk handkerchief that he had treasured. The mysterious effigy they had found beside him served as a distinguished gravestone, a marker that stood out as somewhat special among the rows of similar swords marking neighbouring plots. Wait, is this effigy? Isn't that the effigy? Yeah. Is it that? Or this? Not sure. No one spoke, not even in whispers. There was nothing to say. Miller awoke the next day to a thunderous shaking and rattling of the earth, a far cry from the playful nudging of the previous day. She strained to adjust her eyes, but the choking sting of stirred-up dust caused her to flinch. Panic was also in the air. The sounds of scurried footsteps and clattering feet filled the space around her, but even in alarm, the silence was louder. What was it that sounded so strange? Miller closed her eyes tight and used her feet to guide her along the passage. The whispers around her were getting louder, and intense voices could be heard ahead, louder speech than she had ever heard spoken in the canyon. A growing dread grew as Miller approached the mouth of the cave, her eyes now open wide despite the dust. Shouldn't it be day? Miller felt a hand in the darkness pulling at her. It was Ravia. The two embraced, and Miller did not need to see her to understand. Ravia placed two bent fingers against Miller's cheek. And with that touch against her face, Miller felt the same stinging feeling from the previous day. Two bent fingers confirmed what Miller had suspected. The girls had forgotten to relay one critical piece of information to the others, the guards. An hour or so later, the screams began, blood-curdling cries of hopeless desperation. Captain Fodrick Lee of the Black Guard looked down from the ridge of the canyon to the collapsed entrance of the cave. Ah, he grinned. Now they speak. What? They killed Jesper and buried him. There's nothing to say. So the thunder is shaking, so there's been a cave-in. The far cry from the playful nudging. That's why you can't see. Choking sting of stirred up dust, right. But have they done it on purpose? I think they have, haven't they? Yeah, because that's what they're saying. They didn't relay the information about the Black Guard crossing over. And it turned out they were there to kill them. I think so. And they're still alive in there. Oof, that is the end. It's weird, the curse feels like it didn't connect to the second part. Maybe there's a part 3. But I guess it did in the sense that, like, well, if he wasn't riding the carriage, which he had to do to get there, then they wouldn't have been distracted from the... Yeah, I guess. I guess the curse affected them all. Okay. What am I supposed to get from that? Anything? Or is it just lore? I don't know. Maybe it'll come up at some point. Should I write down any of the details? Like, names and things? We'll just get it again. I mean, I've got a video. I've literally got a video of it. So, that'll do. Although, will I actually look at it when I need it? I don't know. Okay, I think I picked a good time to stop playing this most recent split between the videos. Okay, so we've got a few more rooms to explore. Then we've also got the inner sanctum key to go to. Okay. Okay. And probably other stuff. Vault key again, yes. Or did we just do that? Oh gosh. I've done 2 today, haven't I, already? Yeah, we did a passport and we did, yeah, we've done that already. Treasure map. And the filing cabinet key. So, archive wouldn't be terrible, to be honest, if we do get the archive. Mailroom. Should we do it and get the thing? And we get to see some new letters. Order placed. Okay. Yeah, it takes a few days to come through. That's fine. We don't have a magnifying glass though, do we? Sadly. So I'm not sure if any of these are new. Holy moly, this is a lot of letters. Where did I read up to? I definitely read this one. What's that one? That one? Just in case it wasn't explicit in the emails, I decided to contact DC Power directly and get some additional usage instructions for the VAC system that they installed. This information is actually as much for me as it is for you, so I often spend 10 minutes in the utility closet just pressing random buttons and still coming up with desired results. I rarely understand how it is I got there. After half an hour on hold, I finally got to speak to the technician who personally designed the system and compiled a list of helpful operating instructions. I'll add that material on a separate sheet I'll include with this letter. As always, hope this helps you, Randolph. I think I saw this one, but we've solved it already. 5 out of the 6 indicated lights are all the same color. Pressing sync indicator will always sync it up with the other 5. I don't know if I ever realised that, but okay. I mean, we've done this, we don't need to read it. Okay, this one. Greetings, Simon. I hope all is going well in this state. I was discussing my communications with you, with another fellow technician, Kimberly Thompson, and she suggested I disclose to you the locations of the drafting strategy issues she's personally found in the estate. Okay, interesting. Okay, very interesting. I think we have 3, 4, and 5, right? So the drafting studio has one? How does it? Oh no, it does have one. No, we've read that one. So maybe it's just one that we haven't read, which is in the dormitory. In which case, I'm not sure I even need to write this down. The above list is according to her, so I can't personally vouch that these are accurate. I think it is accurate. We've got that stamp already. If I'm going to be mentioning members of the staff, perhaps I should give you a brief introduction. Okay, Cook Darren, head of security. Right. Really? Huh. Huh. Head of security. Do we have a different name for head of security? We should read the emails again at some point. Randolph Moore, lead lab technician, network admin, humble author of these letters. Could be top-sub lab assistant, helpful sidekick. Chef de camp, head of kitchen, maker of tasty meals. Hotly Ruota, the Baron's personal valet, retiring. Christoph, the chauffeur. Robert Nagula, the new groundskeeper. These are a handful of other names among the various that live out and seasonal service staff, but due to their infrequent mentions, I thought it best to omit them from this cursory introduction. Okay. I think I know all those names except Chef de Camp. Let's write that one down, actually. It's near the beginning. Here we go. Chef de Camp. I mean, I can guess what they are just from the name. Everybody else's names I know. Yeah. Okay. It's a bit scary reading these because it might just be spoilery, but okay, a new clue. Another successful experiment, another letter. You have certainly been keeping yourself busy, as I've spent the last few days racking my brain trying to come up with new clues for you. I'm reminded of your mother's aptly named book, A New Clue, and how feelingly she hid the clues for her readers within its pages. Don't worry, I won't be hiding my clues for you in imagery or requiring you to comb the text with a magnifying glass. The truth is, I'm not nearly as clever or creative as she was. The best I could muster trying to be cryptic and mysterious would be something like, break the bricks in the weight room with something that has a handle and is very... There's a thing to break in the weight room? I have not even noticed that. Break wall in weight room. Is that the bonus lever thing? I'm afraid that in spite of my best efforts, the result is not quite cryptic, even less mysterious. I suppose I'll leave the riddles to your great uncle and his niece. Okay, I'm glad I've seen that because I didn't think I've ever even noticed. I guess that is that wall, but I never saw it as like similar to those other walls. Dear Simon, as I've been running out of ideas of my own, yesterday I asked Kirk Darren if he had any additional security advice I could pass on. To my surprise, he gave me an envelope and directed me to include it in my next correspondence to you. I did not ask him what it contained, so I'll be very curious to hear from you after this is all over, find out whether or not it was of any use. Until next time, Randolph. Unused memos. Okay. 6, 7, and 9 never appear. What does blue mean again? Safe code 1213, but these are both read and typed. This is handwritten. Safe code D8, yes. Done that one. There is a safe on rank 10. Which is... There's a rank in room 46. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Which I think might be true. I wonder if I'm there at 130. Okay, safe on rank 10. I mean, I should believe it, right? I think the rest of this I don't care about very much. 6, 7, and 9, sure, but I guess that just narrows things down slightly. Yeah, it's a green one, and it's typed. Okay. Can't think of any reason you'd need to access the server administrator controls before I return, but your father has mentioned your interest in computers, so I have a feeling you may be a bit more hands-on than your great uncle. You'll find the admin terminal in Blackbridge Grotto, a small cabin sealed, much like the story off of the East Drive. I believe I've previously explained how to restore power to the grotto in one of my earlier letters, but keep in mind that accessing the terminal requires an admin key. Unfortunately, I won't be able to set one up for you until I return, but your admin key will eventually be Joan S. First of all, letters of your family name, or if you prefer, we could use a pseudonym. I'm sure we'll discuss it in greater detail when I return. The order that you get these is super weird. Do we have the stamp that I am missing here? Not that one. I can't see a stamp there, sadly. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. I think I definitely looked at all these, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, wait. Yep. Okay. And that one we looked at as well. Okay. Okay. So, weight room with the power hammer, which obviously I'm not doing today. But, okay, now we can go down to the basement. Yep, this way. And we've got a new room to draw next time, hopefully. Holy moly. There we go. We don't have the code check today, right? No, we didn't draw it. Like, I think it only came up quite late, and it seemed unlikely I would get a thing to break, a wall to break. But I guess I didn't know that the weight room, which I don't have anyway, was a thing. Okay, so I have to pay attention to more of the rooms as well. I like the way those kind of hints... Ooh. Is that suspicious? Writing it down. But I don't think it is something, but worth making a note of it anyway, I think. Okay, easiest way to the thing. I guess just go through, right? Does it leave it at the... yeah, like in the position I left it. Cool. And I have set up the boiler room again, so we could go and look at that again as well. In case we have any ideas. Did I try like Mary or whatever? Oris? That's another 4-letter word. Jesper. Okay, so 5 are open. We've got another key. Which one do I know? Is there one I know? Where was I doing it? Here, okay. So how many have I done? 1, 2, right? Just the 2. Yes, and there is another one I know. 1, 2, 3. So I know Vera, I believe. Which is the puzzle piece one, this one. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so for Vera, we think... I haven't drawn this one out, but we think that... oh, I've got to remember how this works again, so... that changes that. Those two are connected, but these two are independent, aren't they? Or I can set this one without it being affected by anything else, yeah. So we basically set these two. So this is the shape in the middle, which is... wait, is that one independent? Yeah, I think so. Shape in the middle for Vera. Not in the middle, in the, yeah, the motes. We want spiritual, which is pizza. That's the one, okay. Then, let's do this one. Which is effectively setting... what does this do by itself? Just the outside thing. So this is affecting the number of these. So I want, for Vera, I want... Turtleback, which is a weird one, and hot. It's just the number of them, right? So it's that one. So I can do this, I think, to get to hot. That one. And then... oh, but the one in the middle's changed. Okay, so there was a dependence there. Oh no, sorry. We've done that, we've done that, we've done that. Okay, so it's this one to do the pink, which is the square wave. Yeah, there we go. Nice. Good job, me. It's very pink over here. Yeah, they are like... not really being put together like jigsaw pieces, but I think that is what it's kind of implying. Looks cool. Oh, got a cool little turtle figure. Despite my prejudice against Mother Nature, I own that I have deeply loved my time here at Vera. The memories of the youthful trip I took here with my brother have been relentless, and as I've gotten older, I find less and less occasion to recollect on such trivial pleasures. One thing I do remember vividly, which has not lost a single speck of charm, are the famous turtles. Each visitor of Vera, upon arriving, is lent to one of these hard-shell friends for the duration of their stay, to serve as both steed, guide, and companion, and are still under the spell of island life, even if the weather here is much more severe than it was on Morajai. So Morajai was previous to that, okay. I did not put a label for I'm writing the journey down. It's somewhere in here. Journey. So Arinda Aries was the start, Fan Aries was the end. Right, so you left No, yeah, the point was that you left from the Blackbridge Hotel and Spa, and you were like, oh, it's kind of like the last remaining thing of Arinta, yeah. So what we know there is that we don't know what. Oh, we do know a date. Is that date? No, it's not a date up there. Yeah, we just know that this comes after Morajai. Okay, that's cool. We've got a little logic puzzle going on here. So Vera is after. Let me do it. Let me write this a different way. Morajai. Some number after. No, some number later we get to Vera. Okay. Okay, I think that is all we can tell from that. Interesting. What if they're all like that in the middle? Oh yeah, one of these again. Orange. Is that the one that clones? That's the rotating one. This totally is the one that clones. Like that? Yeah, okay. No. Yep. I think if we just clone them all, this will be basically done, right? Come on. I'm sure I can get it there. A bit of random spinning around. Okay, I mean, maybe not. Like, maybe there's like a way of getting this into a stuck situation. And I've done that. Nope, we're good. Cool, another 2 allowance. Always happy to have that. 54. Gosh, you run so fast in here. I wish it was like this all the time. I do really wish it was like this all the time. This is so much better. Cool. We've done another one of these. What does I have left to do? The treasure map. Sure. Wasn't there something else important? Oh yeah, I was going to go look at the 4-digit code again. 4-letter code. Since that should be available again. I believe. I hope. I like how I ran past this the first time I was down here. I guess I was so excited about the other stuff. I wonder if you can break this. With the thingy. Whoa. Can I figure out which way I want to go? That way, right? There to there. So it's the one adjacent to here, and then 3 away. Okay. And maybe there's a clue up there that I've missed somehow. Well, how is this set up? Like there to there, okay. Right, go on. So it's here I want the thing to be, so one more, right? Yeah. Okay. 47 steps, we're okay for those. I do like how this looks from the outside, it's cool. It's got the same colour as the boiler room power thing, which is interesting, I guess. There's just a gem. Oh, there's another room in there as well. So, any ideas? I mean, okay, I might as well just look at the letters I wrote down. It's a bit more convenient. I mean, it's the same, right? Yeah, W-U-M-S-B. Yeah, okay. So not Oris. What was my mum's name? Mary. M-A. That one doesn't work either. There's no R on here, I don't think. Let's double check. It's very close to working, but yeah, no R, right? Nah. Okay. What else could it be? It's interesting that there's an 8 at the end. I wonder if it's like a word that ends in like something like rebate. Is there a word that I can think of that's like that in the game? That's like a common word. Relate. Rebate. It is weird there's an 8 at the end though. Eek. Lock. I write the word lock. L-O. Or like, what would be a good word that ends in 8 that means like open? Unlock gate. Weak. Meek. Seek. Bike. There's quite a lot of words in here. Turns out. Oh, you can tell them both ways. Okay. Didn't even realize. Be late. Be date. Kate. Date late. Maybe date. Redate. Locate. Is there a C? It could be a K. Locate. Lock doesn't work, although I can see it here. To date. Something date would be interesting because of date, or you know, meditate, sedate. Obviously not going to be that. I don't think I have it, do I? What's that? This is that there. Is there any clue? Arinda Aries. Maybe it doesn't end with 8, but it's very suspicious that 8 is there. Wasn't there like one of the words in the gallery ended in 8, didn't it? Do I remember what? Let's have a. Can I tell from the thing here? It was that one. Ruminate. There's no way I can put that on here. No. Mate, sate. There's a lot of ways a word could end with 8. I might be on the wrong track entirely. Mate. Lamate. Pamate. Tamate. Tamate. It could be like and sate, and late, and date, and 8. No, obviously not. I'm probably not supposed to do it this way. There's probably another clue somewhere else, right? think so. I think so. Rather than me just like trying to guess a kind of cryptic thing. But the game does have cryptic puzzles in it, so it's hard to say for sure. Wait, what's that room called? Does it have a name? It's just called the Underpass. Okay. Inner Sanctum. Is there any other 4-letter word it could be? I mean, it's not just like open, is it? No, there's no O to begin with, I don't think. Let's double check. That'd be sneaky, wouldn't it? Yeah, there's no O here. Okay, unlock. Combinate. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have it for now. Hopefully it's not something I've read earlier and not understood. Placate. I can't think of the words. What we're doing? I guess I'm going to the treasure. For what gain? Oh, I mean, I might be able to spend my money on something interesting. So I want this to come all the way around again. Okay. Where am I going? This way, yes. Treasure map. Money. I did definitely do the second vault key. Yeah, I did. It got me the sanctum key. Right? I mean, I guess I've got the steps. I could probably check. Yeah, okay. Might be worth doing. Wait, I mean, I guess it would be taken away from me. No, it's not taken away from me. I definitely did it though. I remember doing both those numbers. Yeah, okay. So this way. So treasure map here? No? Wait, what? Totally is here. Where? Oh, here. Oh, there, specifically. It's so weird. Oh, what? What have I found? You can find stuff like this. Baron Bafflers. Each clue. Oh, this is the castle thing. There's three-letter words that are hidden within other words. What's happening? Directions. Each clue is a hint for 2 different words. The word below, the long word, and a second smaller word found within that word, the small word. Each letter in the small word will be included in the next clue's long word. Each letter in the... Okay, each letter, but not necessarily in order. Lastly, the first letter of each small word forms this week's solution, a member of the 6th clue. A group composed of members that have similar characteristics. Lastly, the first letter of each small word forms this week's solution. Is it castle? A member of the 6th clue. A group composed of members that have similar characteristics. How's a castle a member of that? No, maybe this is an example. It's not the same as the castle one or something. Huh. I mean, we can try and do it. Okay. Sure. Kept behind locked doors. Concealed. Kept behind locked doors. Can affect one greatly when made by someone with a strong spirit. Present. Res. No. Makes the validity of a statement clear. Makes the validity of a statement clear. Evidence? No. Validity of a statement clear. It's valid. On a certain scale, this is very hot. Celsius, Fahrenheit. This is very hot. On a certain scale, this is very hot. I don't know any of these. I'm terrible at word games. Informs you that there's no school today. Teacher? No, it doesn't fit. Principal? Who informs you that there's no school today? A group composed of members that have similar characteristics. A group composed of members that have similar, so like a collection or a, that would just be a group, but they have similar characteristics. Oh my gosh, this is hard. Kept behind locked doors. Kept behind locked doors. Closed. No, that doesn't work. Okay, so I'm putting something, I'm locking something behind closed, like locked doors. Kept behind locked doors. Safe. Captive. Stored. It's kept behind, so it is past tense. Or is a word. Oh, I think they're going to be colours. A group composed of members that have. Lastly, the first letter of each small word forms this week's solution. A member of the sixth clue. No, I don't know if I believe that actually. The small words don't have to all be related to each other, no. It's just the word that the first letter of each small word makes up is a member of whatever the sixth clue is. A group composed of members. What? Uniform, no. Kept behind the locked doors can affect one greatly when made by someone with a strong spirit. Strong spirit. Is that a play on words? Is it like alcohol? Can affect one greatly when made by someone with a strong spirit. I mean, it could be it would affect you, it would make you drunk. And if somebody made it with a strong spirit, then sure. What would fit? What's the point of the smaller word? Just to be like, oh, it's actually a valid three-letter word. Second smaller word. Each clue is a hint. Oh, it's a hint for both of them. What? The word below, the long word, and the second small word found within that word. Each letter in the small word will be included in the next clue's long word. Lastly, the first letter of each small word. So the clue is somehow a clue for both? How can that possibly be? Makes the validity of a statement clear. Makes it clear. Like whether it's valid or not. Proof? No. On a certain scale, this is very hot. Red hot. Very hot. Scorching. Is there anything to zoom in on here? I don't know. I don't think so. This is kind of scary as well, because like these don't stay with you. So I only get to see this now. Kept behind. Could it be that this is C something and this is A something? If this is C something something, then kept behind locked doors. Reek. Deek. Unk. Ink. It like to in. Like you can, I guess you can use intern to mean that, can't you? Like this is basically the same word as intern. Give me other definitions of intern. Would that be a word for that? TER, no. To confine as a prisoner. To intern. I mean, it fits, but TER isn't a word. Are they cryptic crossword clues? Like kept behind locked doors. Like behind could mean the end of locked or the end of locked doors or something like that. Kept. I mean, it might be. There might be cryptic crossword clues. I don't see anything that implies like, because like in cryptic crosswords you have words that sort of mean, like anagrams, like make this an anagram, or maybe affect. I don't know, can affect one greatly. A group composed of members that have similar characteristics. Homogeneous. Informs you that there is no school today. What are you on about? The weather? If it's like a snow day? How would you be informed? How was I informed when there was no school? How did that work, actually? I mean, there were definitely times we walked to school and then you'd like bump into somebody and they'd be like, oh, school's off today. Informs you that there's no school today. Head teacher. Teacher. Doesn't fit. Parent. Like, your parent finds out. Parent. What? It's interesting that somehow the word that's the first letter of each clue is a member of the sixth clue, despite it not being. So does it want? It's not. It's not wanting a synonym with this. It's wanting a very specific group that has lots of people that share similar characteristics. Maybe like alphabet. Like, I mean, that doesn't make sense. But like a specific group of things that are all similar. A group composed of members that have similar characteristics. What? They could be like anything. Are you saying that there are two words that mean kept behind locked doors, and one of them can be found inside the other? That seems unlikely, but maybe. Kept behind locked doors, 3-letter words. Or is it like a specific thing that's kept behind locked doors? Yeah, again, rather than a synonym. Like, I'm supposed to find something that is kept behind locked doors. Like, I keep thinking of synonyms. I was just thinking of like private. Doesn't fit. Secret. CRE. So what would you keep behind locked doors? Behind locked doors. I mean, anything. Anything you want to keep locked away. Prizes, no. Belongings. On a certain scale, this is very hot. On a certain scale, this is very hot. I guess the thing is, once I get one of them, it's then going to give me some letters for the next one, so that's handy. But I'm not getting any of them. On a certain scale, this is very hot. Boiling. But this is very hot. On a certain scale. Like, not a temperature scale? On a certain scale, this is very hot. Yeah, so it's a thing that's hot, but only on a certain scale. Is there a pun? Scale? On a certain scale, this is very hot. On a certain scale, this is very hot. Perfect one, great one made by. This is impossible. What? Group composed of members that have similar characteristics. Informs that there's no school today. Parent, ENT. That'd be a weird clue for parent, though, right? The news. Like a notice or something? Ice, not ice. Notice. ICE, a group composed of members that have similar characteristics. I mean, I guess like a notice would inform you that there's no school today, but if there's ice outside, you'd also know there's no school today. Maybe? A group composed of members that have similar characteristics. ICE. ICE. Let me write this down. ICE. I was not expecting to be doing this. I thought I'd just dig up some money or something. A group composed of members that have similar characteristics. So it's 6 letters long. It may have ice in it. So it was 2 separate groups. Okay. Does this also loop around? Do these 4 letters appear in the first one? Because if not, uh-oh. But I guess I can also say that if it is notice, then the one before shares 3 letters with that as well. Maybe OT for hot, red hot. then the E would be the other one? No, but it has to be the last word, the last 3 letters. Okay, so there's 3 letters in notice that could be the last 3 letters of the previous one. On a certain scale, this is very hard. So it's also something that can be a word itself, like I mean, like ice again, but that's not very hard. Tin, like a hot tin roof. Ton. It might be tin. Like hot tin roof is a thing. Tin, and then so if it were tin, what could go? Or like 10 and molten. Is there something that could end in tin that would also be a word? Like molten. And 10, like it's the top of the scale. I could believe that as well. Molten. I have no idea if I'm doing the right thing or if I even need this for anything. Well, if it were molten, that would be TI. Okay. Okay, that could be right. Makes the validity of a statement clear. So I'm going up the list here. So there's 3 letters in molten, maybe, that would work here. Okay, but 3 of them are a word as well. That would make the validity of a statement clear. Len, a let, tell, toll, tom, mot, mo, mon, net. Validity of a statement clear. Ton. Lot. Ent. Met. What? Let, net, mot, lot, not. Makes the validity of a statement clear. Not. You must not do this. That feels like a stretch. And then what would the other thing be? Not notice again. No. I mean, maybe I'm wrong with molten. Maybe it is tin. On a certain scale, this is very hard. Something tin. Hot tin. No. Is there a word that ends in tin that also means like very hard? No. Makes the validity of a statement clear. Let. Toe. Toe the line. No, it's not relevant. Len. Net. Something beginning with a vowel. Eol. Ol. Leo. Olay. Elm. Elt. Olm. One. Doesn't, for the validity of a statement, what? One. Neo. Nom. Oat. Ohm. Men. Mon. Makes the validity of a statement clear. Men. Men always make the validity of their statements clear. The validity of a statement. This is so hard. Does it loop around? It doesn't say that it does. It probably doesn't, but I don't know. Molten. Makes the validity of a statement clear. Tel, 10, 1, Neo, Eno, Elt, Elo, Emo. Maybe Molten's not right. Maybe Tin's not right. Or 10, sorry. Tin, 10, either of them. 10, Ico. I quite like notice and ice. That kind of works. Kind of a bit like cryptic and weird, but so then we're saying that if we use the letters ICE, we can make a group composed of members that have similar characteristics. That's 6 letters, not 4 letters, because they might not all be in the 4 letters. The I, C, or E might be the first 2 letters. Ice. That's so vague. A group composed of members that have similar characteristics. That's so vague. That's so unbelievably vague. Friend group. And then the word would be I-end. A group composed of members that have similar characteristics. Species or something. Could be something like that? Like, what other words are there like that? Like, there's a kingdom, let me look at, like, let me just find a random bird. Robin. Goes to the Wikipedia page, like text, there's like the taxonomy, and there's the domain, a group composed of members of similar characteristics, main. I mean, it is a 4-letter word within another 6-letter word, but I don't see how it fits. Main. Kingdom. Phylum. That's not another 4-letter word. Class, order, family. Millie. Genus, species. Group composed of members of similar characteristics. And if it is domain, it's not noticed from above. So no, it's not. Oh, I don't know. I mean, species has ice. But it doesn't fit at all. A group composed of members have similar characteristics. Oh, this is so hard. What? Who does these? A group composed of members, a set, like it's so vague. Like it could be like, I don't know, a choir is a group of singers. They all have similar characteristics. They can sing. It's probably to do with creatures or animals or people. A clique. A gang. A group. Maybe I should just search for synonyms of group. Synonyms of group. Category, grouping, brackets. Faction, company. I want 6 letters specifically. Society. Nope. 6 letters. Clique came up. Cluster, too long. A league. Ague. Is ague a word? I mean, I should probably check just in case. Ague. I think it actually is a word, but I don't think it's related. Malaria or another illness involving fever and shivering. I'm not sure it's even pronounced ague. Oh yeah, it is like acute. Okay, interesting. That's the etymology. They share the same etymology as acute. Parcel. Posse. Makes the... Oh my gosh. Makes the validity of a statement clear. When it says a member of the 6th clue, do you mean a member of what's being named in the 6th answer, or are you saying a member of the 6th clue? What does it mean to be a member of the clue? No, it must be a member of the answer, right? A group composed of members of similar colours, laws, allower. So we're going to get a 6-letter thing that is a member of the other thing. So whatever the thing is, whatever the group is, it has like named members. Could it be like chess pieces or something? Are we doing that again? T-I... No. Bishop. It is 6 letters. But then what would the last thing be? Chess pieces. Chesses. No. And I can't just like save this. Unless this stays open between runs. Maybe it does. Maybe it's an unusual one. It's weird that there's like that hole down there. I don't think I can solve this right now though. I guess I can always write it down. I'll just do it in my notebook. Try. Okay, we'll do it. Kept behind the locked doors. Is the thing in the... Is it castle? Castle... That's also like a chess piece. Okay, what would a castle be a member of? Building. Where the things have similar characteristics. Yeah, chess pieces. Castle. TV shows. castle. Like a... I don't know. So 6 letters. Just gonna draw this out. Okay. Can affect one greatly. This feels like an alcohol joke. When made by someone, or like a wish or something, a promise, rom, no? With a strong spirit. It's not alcohol, it fits, but LC. Gin and tonic. Makes the validity of a statement clear. No idea. Citation? So, no, obviously it doesn't fit. Okay, like a tick, check mark. Of a statement clear. Verification. On a certain scale, this is very hot. On Celsius, 100 is very hot. I mean, there's lots of temperatures that are very hot. So 100 is boiling. Informs you that there's no school today. Notice, maybe? That one feels like the best thing I've got so far. There's no school today. Those 2 answers both work, I think. If there's ice outside, you might realise school's probably not on today. If you get a notice that tells you there's no school today, then you also know. A group, this is the most vague one, and it's the last one, which is annoying because you can't work upwards into it. Group composed of members, like a word, or of members that have similar characteristics. 6 letters. It's lost 4. Whew. Well, that is certainly vague. I've written it down and we'll just have to deal with that. Another time, I think. Maybe it stays open somehow. Oh yeah, I was going to get to the showroom, wasn't I? What else was I going to do? I've forgotten everything. I think I still have a lockbox open in the courtyard as well. We could do that. Might have some money that we can spend in the showroom. I was also thinking the chapel might... Oh, it's going to take money away from me. Wait, is that... No, there's an apple. Yeah, there's a lockbox here. Oh, we're expecting there to be money around the house though, aren't we? Ooh, we probably should explore a bit. So we've got the steps. Yeah, we might as well. I'm sure we might lose a bit in here, but... So I think we're expecting that. Yep, there we go. We totally are. Oh. Oh yeah, we're shielded still. Good. More money. Which way is the good way? Both ways. So we can loop back the other way, I guess. Yep. I'm not sure if we'll be able to buy everything. We'll see. We shall see. That'll be another trophy done, if so. Nothing in here. Anything in here? Not sure where money would even be in here. Maybe downstairs? Yeah, I don't think there's anything here. Okay. Then this way. No money here. Seems like not. Oh, hello. One whole coin. Oh, bunch of coins. I could potentially swap something, although it costs 5 coins to do it. Let's see why I'd want to swap. Oh, this is still doing this as well. Can I take the bleach? Can I drink the bleach? I'm so confused. Is there something here, really? I think that's a bug. It's got to be a bug. Doesn't make any sense. Is there something above me somehow? No. Okay, back we go. Well, we may have spent 2 coins in the chapel, but it was a net positive. Thanks, Annette, for being so positive. Where am I going? To the showroom. Cool. Can we buy it out? Maybe 162 is quite a lot. But is it enough? Have I checked these rooms? For money? Well, I've only got 5 steps left. Wasn't even thinking about it. Okay, at least we can get here. Oh, is there a room I want to get to finish the day? I don't think there is actually. Yeah, we don't have the break room or the, what's it called? 130, 160. We just need like 20 more. Yeah, we can't do it. There's no point. I mean, there is a point getting at least one of these. So yeah, just that one really. Okay. Oh, wait, hold on. Where's my... I haven't got the coat check today. No. Okay, phew. I was scared that I had the thing on me. I was going to lose it. I guess I got the emerald bracelet, but I'm okay losing it now. Okay, I think that's it. I think that's it. I know. There's something I'm forgetting. Hey, we got another sigil done. Very cool. Who knows what's going on with that puzzle we were just doing. I also feel like it's just teaching me the rules for something else. Perhaps that thing that's in the chess room. Or that is the same thing. Castle. So that would make it... T-L-E. But they were all 3 letters in the castle thing. Yes, whereas there's a 4-letter one here. Yeah, okay. So it is different, I think. Pretty sure. Anyway, I think we're calling it a day. Sorry if I missed something, folks. But it's happening. All that money going to waste. Yes. Well, it's gone now. Whew. And we have a potential new room to draw tomorrow, which will be cool. The dormitory. Nice. Archaeological shopping centre. A classic for us. I've done that one a lot of times. Okay. There's so many things to think about. There's so many things. White sheets under 2 stones. When is that ever going to mean something to me? Okay, I'll see you next time, folks. And this game. Alright, goodbye.